In the warm morning air of August 27, 1896, the tiny island kingdom of Zanzibar stood on the edge of disaster. The harbor was calm. British warships rested offshore. The palace stood proudly near the water, its walls facing the sea. But inside that palace, a dangerous gamble had just been made. For years, Zanzibar had been caught between its own royal traditions and the growing power of the British Empire. The island was small, but it sat in an important place, off the coast of East Africa, along the trade routes of the Indian Ocean. Whoever controlled Zanzibar controlled influence, commerce, and prestige. Then the old sultan died. His name was Hamad bin Thuwaini, and he had been friendly toward the British. When he died suddenly on August 25, 1896, the British expected a successor they approved of to take the throne. But one man moved faster. His name was Khalid bin Bargash. Before the British could stop him, Khalid rushed into the palace, declared himself sultan, and surrounded himself with armed supporters. To him, this was his moment. His claim to power. His chance to rule. But to the British, it was an unacceptable challenge. They had another man in mind, Hamad bin Muhammad, someone more willing to cooperate with British interests. So they sent Khalid a message that was simple and chilling. Step down. Leave the palace. Surrender your claim. Khalid refused. Instead, he fortified the palace. He gathered nearly 3,000 defenders, soldiers, palace guards, servants, and armed civilians. Cannons were pointed toward the harbor. The Sultan's yacht, the HHS Glasgow, sat ready offshore. The palace became a symbol of defiance. But just beyond it, British naval guns were waiting. The British issued an ultimatum. Khalid had until 9 a.m. on August 27 to surrender. If he did not, they would open fire. As the deadline approached, the harbor became silent with tension. British sailors took their positions. Guns were loaded. Smokestacks rose from the warships. Everyone knew what was about to happen. Inside the palace, Khalid still believed he could hold out. Maybe he thought the British were bluffing. They were not. At exactly 9:02 a.m., the British ships opened fire. The first shells slammed into the palace with terrifying force. Wood splintered. Walls shattered. Fire broke out almost immediately. The palace, built more for ceremony than war, was no match for modern naval artillery. Then the British guns turned on the Sultan's yacht. The Glasgow tried to resist, but it was hopeless. Within minutes, it was burning, sinking into the harbor under the force of British fire. On land, Khalid's defenders were overwhelmed. Their old cannons could do little against the warships. Shell after shell tore through the palace grounds. Smoke covered the waterfront. Flames rose above the royal buildings. And then, almost as quickly as it began, it was over. By about 9:40 a.m., the shooting had stopped. The entire war had lasted roughly 38 minutes. That is why the Anglo-Zanzibar War is remembered as the shortest war in recorded history. But those 38 minutes were devastating. Hundreds of Khalid supporters were killed or wounded. The palace was destroyed. The Sultan's yacht was sunk. British casualties were almost non-existent by comparison. As for Khalid bin Bargash, he did not die in the palace. He escaped. While his followers suffered under the bombardment, Khalid slipped away and sought refuge at the German consulate. The British demanded that he be handed over, but Germany protected him. Eventually, he was smuggled out and taken into exile. Within hours, the British-backed Sultan, Hamad bin Muhammad, was placed on the throne. The message was unmistakable. Zanzibar could have a sultan, but only one Briton approved. And so the shortest war in history was not just a strange footnote. It was a sharp example of imperial power in its most direct form: a throne challenged, an ultimatum given, a palace destroyed, and a nation forced into obedience before breakfast. 38 minutes. That was all it took to decide the future of Zanzibar. And in those 38 minutes, the world learned that sometimes the shortest wars can still cast a very long shadow.